tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Eric, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
All right, welcome to Tinfoil Hat Live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver, the Wolfpack Gold adjacent website. Just go to samtripoli.gold, use the promo code tinfoil, and you two can get it on the personal game
right?
for a little.
You meant to say studio, right? You said website.
Yes.
You just want to take
Okay,
it.
I'll do it one more time.
3, 2.
All right, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat Live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Wolfpack Gold adjacent studios. Just go to samtripoli.gold, use the promo code tinfoil, and you too can get in on the Press Smells game for as little as $50 a month. Quick announcement again. Just want to remind you, we've announced the big show. The 1000th episode will be happening June 18th at the Mothership in Austin. Tickets aren't up yet, but be sure to grab them because it will sell out. We'd love to see everybody. We'll have a party after. And enough of that. Very, very excited to have our next guest on. They are part of our cultural, just a giant part of our cultural history. I think everyone knows them and everyone loves them. It's amazing to have him on. He's a security consultant, a mortgage broker, and his new book is coming out called Rooftop Korean. Very honored to have him on. Please welcome to the show, Tony Moon. How are you, Tony?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, Sam. Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, XG.
Honored and privileged, brother. You're royalty on this show, man.
I got the most boring background.
No.
Johnny's in space. You got that cool bookcase. He's got all that picture frames and cool paintings. I got a boring ass bookcase and a little Epstein printer.
Yeah, but we're not a rooftop Korean, dude. I would give all that up to be a rooftop Korean, dude. That's the greatest story of all time.
I didn't know what that meant prior to 2020. I didn't even know that. Yeah, dude, I didn't know that term existed. I had no idea that was even a thing.
That's incredible because I've heard about them since it happened. Everybody was talking about how badass that was forever.
I think it's because when you're in the tapestry versus being outside, you're just, you know what I mean?
So, I get it.
Up until 2020, I had no idea that was even a term or even a meme or whatever. It's just when I created the Twitter handle, the X handle back then, is when I was looking up stuff and I was like, hey, they're actually talking about this, and then I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. I'll just take that Twitter handle.
That's pretty badass. So before we start, just tell us, obviously they know who you are, but tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you and when your book drops.
Cool. So I'm still in LA. Next year is going to be my 50 years of residency in LA.
Wow.
So I would have been living in LA for 50 years. Let's see, what else can I tell you? My book is coming out. Well, it's scheduled. We have a hard street date of April the 29th, which is the 34th anniversary of the 92 riots. But it may go out until August. I'm not sure because there's certain dude, the whole book process is a different thing for me because I've never written a book before, and I wrote this, and it's a whole process of getting it out and making it commercialized. So it's fascinating. But yeah, we're trying to, and that one is it's someone with the bells and whistles. I'm going to shoot out a page and then sign it. And I just
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I know. So the cool thing is the guys that are putting the book together, they've never done this before. So now the publisher and the book, manufacturer are getting together and talking about how they're going to put it together. And then the exciting thing is I can announce it on this show too, is I'm going to be shooting with the guys from Unsub, like Donut, Brandon.
Oh,
So
wow.
Oh wow! All the
those guys are
best.
gonna help me shoot it, and then
All my
they'll sign
heroes.
maybe a few copies, and then we'll take pictures and stuff. But you're in LA, so I mean, we can kind of do the same thing, you know?
Yeah,
So
we'll do anything with you, dude. You can join the crew. I'll kick out XG if you want to come on and
oh,
be part
he's
of the
cool. He's
show,
got all
dude.
those. No, actually, he's got to stay. Look at, he's got all. He's got a cool, skinny back there.
Besides being a cultural hero, you have some of the best hair I've ever seen in my life. I'm
Yes.
blown
Thank
away by how amazing it almost looks like it's a Hollywood prop. It's so nice, dude. That is gorgeous hair. You should be proud of yourself. So I remember where I was in 1992. I had just joined a fraternity. I was in Las Vegas. And things, and I remember the event. There's two events that, I mean, obviously 9/11 stuff like that, but I remember the Rodney King situation, and I also remember the O.J. Simpson verdict and how there was just a heaviness in the air.
Yeah, I
Like
remember.
you could cut it with a knife, and people were like, "What's about to happen?" And it got so out of control that even the Nevada called in the National Guard, and we had them because a buddy of my fraternity was one of them. He got called in, and they had to do patrol. Man, it was a crazy time. When the trial was going on, when all that was happening, do you remember following it and your thoughts on it at all?
Yeah, kind of, because when the video came out, I mean, that blew up. That's the first time like it was something like I was ever caught on video.
Yeah,
when
it kind of was the first viral moment. It went
yeah,
viral.
exactly. Right. So it was the first time something like came out and that blew up. And then everyone knew about it. But then in terms of the trial, what was happening, kind of snippets of it, because I was 19. So I wasn't really plugged in, and we didn't have the internet. I mean, everything was still news based or like, paper, so it's not like I'm going to pick up the LA Times and read. I'm 19. I got other things that I'm doing with my life. Right. So when the verdict came out, I distinctly remember it came out in the middle of the week. It was on a Wednesday. I mean, that's how, I mean, there's a few things I can close my eyes and look back and say, like, I kind of remember it, like the birth of my kids, like it was like a week ago, not that long ago. And this is similar to that, where I can look back and see it like it was like a week ago or even like maybe a few weeks ago. Because when the verdict came down on Wednesday, I mean, it blew everybody away, right? But it made sense because, of what they saw. But they also had a problem with the venue. They moved it up to where that Simi Valley.
For the court,
Right,
yeah.
that was another huge contentious point that they had, moving the venue, and then the demographics of that area, and then saying like it didn't represent LA, in general. So there was that huge,
because they tend to be whiter in Simi Valley.
exactly, and Simi is Copland. It's the cop and
Oh,
firefighters.
I didn't know that.
There's a lot of cops and firefighters that live up there, So it got moved up there. So that was one big point. So when the verdict came out on Wednesday, I mean, it blew everybody away in a sense. But then what started happening on Florence and Normandy, with people coming out, that was organic. People just came out and were pissed, right? And that's where they all congregated, and that's where it kind of grew from there. And then from there, you had these sporadic riots throughout LA, south of LA. Like south of downtown LA towards South Central, Compton, Watts, and those areas. And then that was like Wednesday afternoon. So everyone thought it was going to be over by Wednesday evening, and Thursday would just be another day for the week. But that's when everything kind of blew up on Thursday, and it carried over into Thursday, like throughout the whole day. And then it was in the south, like towards like Compton, Watts, South Central, and then that's where you saw a lot of the smoke and fires. And that's where a lot of the videos and pictures that you see right now were generated from that area.
So, and if you don't want to answer this question, you don't have to. But, there's a very well documented relationship between whites and black people. But I've always heard that there's also some kind of contention between the Korean community and the black community.
Yeah.
Not that anything implicates racism or anything like that, but there was I don't know if she was Korean, but there was a famous story about a young girl going in, stealing, and then there was a shooting and stuff like that. What was the relationship at that time of your community with the diversity of Los Angeles.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I think that's something we need to address. I mean, if we're going to address racism or diversity, we need to address it, right? Because we don't all look alike. Just to be honest, we all the four of us here, we all look different, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly,
Johnny
right?
looks the weirdest.
I know Johnny's got the coolest background.
Yeah. That's why he's in space. Everyone won't let him down here.
Yeah, so there was a lot of contention at that time because from what I understood it, prior to the 92 riots, you had the Watts riots, right? So when the Watts riots occurred, a lot of the business owners that owned the businesses during Watts in those areas, right? So they went through the Watts riots and they were like, you know what, this is not for us. So they sold those businesses to the next wave of immigrants that came in. Some of them were Japanese, some of them were Korean because when my father purchased his first store, it was in Boyle Heights, which is like the armpit of East LA. And he bought it from a Japanese guy, because he purchased it from a guy before. So you had like this influx of immigrants coming in, and the new wave of immigrants that came in were Koreans into the Black community, right? And you got two totally different cultures working. And the reason why I know this is because growing up, I was into hip hop. I grew up with hip hop.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
NWA, I remember I grew up with Run DMC, all those guys, right? So I listened to all of that and I was part of like both cultures. I look Korean, but I listen to hip hop and my lingo was, from that
We're
culture.
talking like the 80s
Yeah, right.
to the 90s.
80s, exactly. So I kind of understood both, but then it's when you had the interaction between the business owners and the customers is where you have the friction. Right. Not only that, but in a lot of these areas, the culture is, Chris Rock put it best, right? You know where I'm going to go with that. Chris Rock. Okay. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And people can go YouTube it and figure out what I'm talking about. But he put it best, right? Because that's what's down there. And what happened in that scenario you're talking about with the shopkeeper and the girl, it was Latasha Harlins. And then the shop owner keeper was an elder woman, again, Sunde Jang or something like that. That was her name. But what happened was the video showed that she was actually trying to steal, take merchandise from, and then she was confronted, turned around, beat the fuck out of the woman, right? Turned around and laughed it off. And then in that state, she had a revolver, wasn't sure if she was going to come back, and then basically. According to what I've read with the court, the revolver was stolen. They recovered it. Someone messed with the trigger or something like that, and then I guess it had a hair trigger, and she pulled the trigger and basically shot, Latasha Harlins. And then on paper, it looks bad because older shopkeeper, 14-year-old girl. You look at the video, fucking Latasha Harlins, big ass 14-year-old girl. She is huge.
Yeah,
and she is beating the out of this old like Asian lady.
Yeah.
On paper it looks bad, but on video it makes sense, and that's why she got the house arrest. The judge, I don't know what her name was. She understood the scenario because in the testimony in Korea she said she lost her mind. She had no idea what was happening. She's never been beaten like that before, and in that sense she was defending herself, and that's what happened. So you had that happen in 91, and then in 92 you had the Rodney King verdict come out, right? So you add insult to injury on top of all of that. And then all of a sudden you got all these, you got pent up frustration, and who's going to be the target of all of that? All the shopkeepers, owners, Korean businesses that are in South LA, South Central, Watts, because in my book, I talk about how they're basically islands in that neighborhood community. There's no way to defend it because they're not put together so closely. So they're kind of further structured apart. So they end up becoming what you saw in the videos, the fires, like the looting and the burning and all that. Those were all the fires that started. That was on Thursday. And then from there, that's when the call went out from Radio Korea asking for help, like asking for people to come out to volunteer and help.
I want to get into that, but I have to ask a question. I'm a stand-up comic. I know a lot of Korean comedians. They're wonderfully funny. There is a running theme, and this is their jokes, not mine. You've heard it. Like, the most racist people in the world are my parents and stuff like that. And I'm not saying they're racist at all, but that's the joke. But were you a first generation Korean, or what generation were you compared to your parents and maybe your grandparents?
Yeah, I'm first gen. I was actually born in Germany, and then I immigrated here. It's in my book. My parents were part of a wave of young immigrants that went to Germany under a program between South Korean government and West Germany at that time, where they had a labor for financial aid package. So the women went as nurses, and the men ended up working in the coal mines. And that's where my parents
The
met.
women worked the coal mines?
No, no, no. Sorry, did I just say that? I meant the
I-
men with the coal mines. The women became nurses.
Okay, okay. I
Yes.
was like, damn, Koreans
We
don't
had
fuck
gender
around.
equality back then.
So I bring that up because you're kind of looking at two different ways of looking at the world. You come to what age were you when you came from Germany?
I came here when I was 5.
Five. So you're growing up in American culture again.
Right.
I think I'm a little older than you, but we have this kind of new culture coming out, hip hop. We're leaving the 60s and 70s. We're getting into hip hop. I always say the end of the 80s and 90s were one of the best musical times in the country, in our culture. But it's definitely a little bit more outlaw, a little more, don't follow tradition and stuff like that. So we have you as a young man versus maybe your parents who come from a more traditional upbringing.
Right.
Do you think that had something to do with maybe even the shooting before? And how did you handle that as you were growing up to kind of be one foot in both cultures?
That's interesting because like hip hop, I consider hip hop LA, because a lot of it was like we had West Coast hip hop, like we had the whole West Coast, East Coast, rivalry thing, but we had our own guys here that started the whole musical flavor. And I kind of was part of that in terms of listening to it when it came up. So yeah, I mean, it was interesting because I understood that the culture of how that worked. And then at the same time, traditionally, my parents were brought up a certain way. So I'll give you a good example of how the friction happens on the store level, right? So it's as easy as a transaction where you're exchanging money, right? So traditionally in Korea, it's respectful to hand someone money, right? So if I'm going to give you, hey, you ring me up for $1.95, I'm going to give you $2. I'm going to give you money, hand it to you or put it in your hand or at least place it on the counter in a way that's not where in here it's okay if I just kind of toss a couple of bucks on a counter and that's
I
acceptable,
gotcha.
right?
The tr-
Korea, that's not
it's a more traditional exchange.
right. And so it's a little insulting, right? So you kind of take that little bit of friction and you add other layers to it in terms of perhaps tone, mannerisms, way of speaking. I mean, we're very loose here, right? They're a little bit more traditional. They're a little like when we speak Korean between ourselves, like our peers versus adults, hierarchy, there's intonations that we have that's different, right? So when we're speaking to someone who's like older than us, then we kind of end our sentences with a certain, I guess, I don't want to say a phrase, but there's a certain way we end a sentence that's
Like customs. There's different customs for how
right.
you
There's
talk
not
to
custom,
people.
but just the way of speaking. Like we speak differently to our elders than we would like you would like here we would say sir, yes sir, like
Oh
no
yeah.
man, right?
More
So
slang with your friends almost.
Yeah.
exactly.
Tony,
So do
Tony,
you have that as a friction as well? Huh?
sorry to interrupt you. I was going to ask you, would you say it was the same friction with Latinos, with Mexicans, or do you think that was a little bit more different? Because they're in South Central, they're all over the place, and I mean they interact with the blacks as well. Do you think
Right.
it was different, or it's kind
I
of
think
the same?
it was different because when we had the store in Boyle Heights, it was mainly Hispanic, Latino, right? So we didn't have that type of interaction that a lot of other Koreans had in Black communities, right? Because what I observed also with Latino families that they also respect their elders. There's a hierarchy in terms of how they
Yes.
there's a certain way of showing respect when they speak, right? Even body language, right? But in the Black community, you don't really have that. It's like the guy is old, that. He's old, whatever, right? I'm
Old
gonna talk to
head.
him.
Yeah. Old
Right?
head.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but within like even like the Latino communities, like, hey man, he's old, he's an elder. Don't talk to him like that. Be respectful. I mean, I've heard that. So there's a difference in culture in that sense too. So
Yeah.
me understanding that, yeah, it was kind of straddling both. The biggest problem I had was in '91 when Ice Cube came out with the song called Black Korea. That was the song that was where I had a huge problem. Because up until that point, there was a difference between the cultures, but I never saw it as a dividing line between us. I was like, we're Americans, we got our own problems and shit, whatever, but we'll work it out. But I never saw it as like, hey, you're Korean, I'm black, you guys,
Oh,
So I never-
wow. I never even thought about that. That's super crazy. And, we're talking about hip hop. We've done 900 and some shows, and there's a theme of what culturally the was done to the blacks and black people, black community, and there's definitely this push. You and I both enjoyed NWA when it came out, and all the gangbang rhymes. And that kind of pushed them even farther into kind of being, again, outlawish and how they interacted, the death of traditions, the death of, interacting with each other in a civil way, pushing more, being the tough guy with a gun. And I'm sure that, I don't know if you saw it, but was there kind of a change in that, or did you always see it as, kind of how the Koreans had a traditional culture, and then the black community had a little different way of operating?
Well, it showed up in the movies first. Do you remember that was that movie called the song was Fight the Power, but there was a movie that was centered around that song. Man.
What were some of the old
Do the
movies,
Right Thing.
Johnny? Do the right. There we go. Do the right
Spike
thing.
Lee. Yeah.
Remember the riots at the
Yeah.
end? You remember? Do you remember the ending scene with the little Asian guy swing his broom, saying, "You're black, I'm black, we're all black." That was funny. I mean, I laughed. So then you remember Boys in the Hood or Menace to Society?
Yeah,
Remember
yeah,
how they created the
yeah,
What'd you say about my mama? You man, right? Right?
Yeah, dude.
So there's a Hollywood portrayed the difference in the
I
the
agree.
with the movie. That's what happened, and that's how it all kind of progressed to what happened for the riots. So me being a kid and growing up in that culture, and also being being raised traditionally in that sense, I mean, I saw both sides, and I also saw the side where the Koreans that were doing successful, doing well in black communities, being successful. I mean, they gave up a lot of stuff too. You had 3 generations working in the store, right? And the only times you had off was Christmas and New Year's Day, but the rest of the time, the rest of the 363 days, you are like from 8 to 10, you're there, right? So, everyone's working their bone off, and then basically they show up and they're showing up in Cadillacs, Mercedes, right? Parking it by the store. Like, what are you doing, man? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like bringing these cars.
No, I get it, dude. I totally understand what you're saying. And
so there you had that as well too. So
guys, are you looking to get in, get out? You want to make a little money fast? Well, there's no better place in the crypto market. And that's why when I'm looking to buy crypto, there's nobody I trust more than my man, James McMahon, and Copy My Crypto. Let me tell you about Copy My Crypto. Does it piss you off to watch crypto fly up in price for over a decade and you still done nothing about it? Yeah, it makes sense. Crypto is complicated and really boring. But here's the good news. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or to make money like so many have. The copymycrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTuber James McMahon personally owns, which means you just copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. You just simply copy along. So let me tell you about James, okay? He runs Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has like 100,000 followers on it, like subscribers. It's unbelievable. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put in $100 in each one, it went on to be worth over $123,000. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick of the year, the one he singled out, called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said, okay? That one call alone retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go on YouTube and verify this yourself. So if you'd like to join the over 3,000 members who copy James, then pause what you're doing and head right over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You'll not only find proof of everything I've said, but our viewers get full access for just $1. Okay? Yes, you missed out on Bitcoin. That's fine. You can even get a little piece, but don't even worry about that. But there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you've missed out on all of them? Guys, don't waste any more time, okay? Go to the site and read it for yourself. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/tinfoil hat. It's ended money worries for so many. It just may do the same for you. And we thank him for sponsoring the show. Listen, you already know what time it is. It's time to level up. And Blue Chew just dropped something crazy. I'm talking next level championship belt gold-plated energy. Blue Chew Gold is the newest innovation, okay? The newest one. I mean, we've made huge advancements, okay? Every day, the scientists are in there going, how can this boner get harder, faster, okay? Blue Chew Gold is the newest innovation for the #1 chewable ED brand. This ain't your grandpa's little blue pill, okay? This is a 4-in-1 beast that's setting the gold standard for performance.
We're talking 2 ingredients for blood flow to keep that rocket pumping, mixed with apomorphine and oxytocin to turn up the arousal and connection in your body and brain.
Blue Chew Gold dissolves under your tongue and works in as little as 15 minutes. That means you can get it on quicker, stay in the game longer. Elevation without hesitation. This is peak passion and performance in a single tablet, okay? Next time she sends you a "you up" text, answer with a picture of Blue Chew, okay? Right? Forget Netflix and chill. Try this. This is Netflix and fill. Boom. Come on, dude.
What does that mean? You're filling your prescription or you're filling
That means you're
her?
filling that snatch with fucking man meat. That's what that means, Johnny. Stop asking questions. Just take the Blue Chew, okay? Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at bluechew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with the code TINFOIL. That's promo code TINFOIL. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. And it's very interesting to me because, again, we talk about, in conspiracies, they call them useful idiots. These people that riot and protest being kind of wound up by the invisible hand of the elites. What I always found very interesting is why the black community always burns down their own neighborhood. It seems counterproductive to me. Even, if you're very upset with the LAPD, why aren't you at the LAPD? Why are you burning down your friends and your neighbors' businesses to make a point against racial injustice? And it just seems, again, like there's this invisible hand winding people up and then pointing them in a direction of destruction. We even see it in Minneapolis right now, and we'll get into that a little more. But, it just seems to me like it seems counterproductive to me if you're upset about how you're being treated to burn down your own neighborhood. And, it even goes into winning a championship in sports. Like, if the LA Rams had gone to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl, then they're burning down Los Angeles, which I used to have a joke. You should be able to go to the team that lost city and burn down their city. And that's kind of the game you play, but it seems very counterproductive to me.
Well, it's just, you have to think about it this way. It's because they don't see it as their neighborhood, and the guys that go riot after their team wins in downtown LA, Those guys don't live in downtown LA. Or downtown, wherever downtown, any town in America. They probably live in the suburbs. They're in downtown, whatever city, celebrating, and they're gonna and trash downtown because they don't live there. They're gonna go home, get in their car, and go home wherever. And the same thing with the people that are burning down these communities, that like the stores back in '92. They didn't see these stores as part of their community, and that's why they got burned down. And there's a thing that happens when you have this like lawlessness and chaos that develops. People like literally lose their minds, right? So they'll go and burn black-owned businesses too, because they're just like, it's just the mob mentality that rules, right? So there's incidences back in '92 where you'd had black and Hispanic people from the neighborhood that came out and defended these stores, that basically held the looters back, or held whoever back from burning these stores. And they were asked, like, why are you doing this? And they was like, because my mom shops here, my aunt shops here, my grandmother comes here, right? They buy stuff here, and if they burn this place down, they gotta take the bus, and it's gonna be inconvenient for them, right? So
Yeah, we saw that with Kyle Rittenhouse, and I know that's a lightning rod for people, but his father lived there. His mother brought him there. He's defending two Indians' car lots, and you had Hollywood like sticking up for one of the guys who was a convicted pedophile, and it just like gets into team sports again, where it's like good guys, bad guys. And if your side's the bad guy, you refuse to see what's going on there. So again, it seems very counterproductive to me when you're burning, even if it's not your neighborhood, it's still your city, and it just seems like you're adding trauma, generational trauma. That's a big thing. Young people see how you're acting. We emulate our parents. We emulate the adults around us, and then we start thinking that's a viable option to do if we're upset. And it just seems crazy to me. And again, not ever going to the sources of power where the problem persists.
right. Well, I mean, the '92 riots were, I think, the most organic, that I saw. And then 2020 BLM, that was funded totally. I mean, you can see it all. And I remember seeing video, I think from DC, where you had protesters there, and you had like this white protester, in a like what's that, snowboarding helmet and goggles, and he's handing out hundreds to these black guys that are running by. It's like, hey, like, hit this and hit that, and they're just passing out money. So yeah, I mean, in terms of like their own neighborhoods, yeah, I don't know why they do that, but
it's very weird to me too, because there's a lot of people now creating content where they find professional protesters, and they'll find them at each one. There's a climate change. They're at the climate change protest. They're at the trans kids protest. They're at the racism is bad protest.
they died in one protest, they're alive in the next one.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like really crazy to me. But the numbers that these people are throwing out, you're talking about like $4,500 a month to protest. I mean, like, maybe we should get into that. That's good money, dude.
Tough economy, anything,
Tough
right?
economy, dude. What do you do for a living? Professional protester. I wonder if chicks dig that. If like, hey man, I'm making money, dude.
That's some poster skills. You have to have some poster skills. You got to make some posters real fast.
Yeah, you got to be able to.
I saw you at the BLM protest, man. You were really good. I saw you get hit in the face by a tear gas canister. That was tremendous.
How do you think you get a raise?
Yeah. Oh, you got to lead a
it.
protest.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. You got
Hit
try
by a
to
car.
try to start a fake
Yeah.
an unorganic organic protest. And yeah, it just seems counterproductive to me. It's a very weird thing. And it's like LA's a very interesting town. If you go to New York City, everybody lives on top of each other. I'm sure there's neighborhoods that are a concentrate of one ethnic group or another, but LA is very, very segregated. Like there's Koreatown, which you can't find parking anywhere. It's unbelievable to me. My baby's mama lived there forever. Like I couldn't find any parking everywhere. Then you have like Watts, Compton, that's black, even though Inglewood was traditionally black, and now they're saying the demographics are going down because all those businesses are moving out there. You have Glendale's Armenian, Beverly Hills is So like each area has its own ethnic group, which is very weird for a city that prides itself on being open-minded.
Yeah,
It's very interesting.
it is interesting. Yeah, it's like you have these pockets in LA County, of ethnic pockets. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to me because everybody's like open-minded here, but they live next to their own tribe. East LA's
What do you think that
Latino.
is? What is it? Is it a heritage that people share and they enjoy sharing it, or do you think there's something deeper than that? Something where people kind of like to be around people with similar heritage?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think a lot of groups come here as immigrants, and they're not making a lot of money, so they tend to live near each other so they could help each other, and then it just becomes Chinatown, right? Because that's where
Yeah.
all the Chinese move together, and same thing with Armenians coming from Armenia.
And then the
They
white
all
people
just-
find out that's where all the good food is, and they start moving in.
Yeah, then the white people are like, I don't want homeless people. Let me move to Glendale. There's no homeless people. Where are they? Right. So that ends up happening for sure. And it's but I've always found that very weird that the city that shoves diversity around down everybody's throat is the most segregated city I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, but the thing is, I didn't grow up like that. I grew up in Hollywood. So like everyone I grew up with, like in Hollywood, was just like different ethnicities. So it was prior to all the moving around, So this was back in like the 70s, 80s, into the early 90s at that time. So, like a good example would be like Hancock Park. You got like blocks that are like nice, and then you got blocks that are sketchy.
Yeah.
They're almost like right next to each other too, right?
That's like
So-
Pasadena. There's like you could have a mansion next to a crack house. It's like
Right,
the
pretty much,
weirdest thing
yeah.
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's very
So I mean,
weird.
that's kind of like what I'm accustomed to. Because I mean, some of my friends I grew up with, like I had an Egyptian friend, and a lot of my friends were Thai, and I grew up with a lot of Armenians in Hollywood, Russian Armenians, yeah, Salvadorans, a lot of Salvadorans, Mexicans, everything, So in my book, I talk about how when I grew up, LA was very layered, and we weren't like growing up in LA, it was more about the neighborhood that you were from, So it wasn't like, hey, he's Korean or he's black or he's this or that, but he's from that neighborhood or that's his crew. And his crew could be like just a whole bunch of guys that are just, you had black, Asian, Samoan, Mexican, whatever, just that's his crew, right? So I talk about in my book how the racial divide that was talked about during the LA riots, that wasn't really part of what I grew up with. What I grew up was very different. But the 92 riots kind of blew that up into like, okay, there is a racial divide. And I address that and I talk about that, and along with the BLM riots, and then my involvement with J6, COVID in LA, and all that other stuff.
Oh, we'll get into that, of course. So let's get into the event. Again, we talked about a little earlier. Rodney King gets beat with a 4x4, and we were very naive back then. We trusted our news anchors. We trusted our media that they would tell us the truth. That is their job. They're not manufacturing consent. They're not manipulating opinions. They're not manipulating energy. Their sole purpose, and because I grew up around that at that time, was again I think I was a freshman in college at that point. That these people are honorable people, and their job is to tell us the news. And it reminds me as kind of things we're starting to see play out right now, that in whether it's the George Floyd situation, this Renee Gerd situation, where it's never clear cut, like who's in the right, who's in the wrong, and those are the perfect opportunities. And again, you said this is probably the organic ride that you've seen, and I would agree with that. But again, the presentation of the situation. You have Rodney King. I don't know if he's in a car or a motorcycle, gets pulled over, isn't listening, won't go down, and they start beating the crap out of him, and he starts taking it because he's high on PCP, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
He's
that's
like
the story that comes out later.
6'4". Like, dude's a giant. I mean, you see the video? He's like, and you see him in press conferences. He's big. He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. He's high on
And
drugs.
Hyundai Excel.
And just because he's high on drugs, and I said the same thing about George Floyd, doesn't mean even if you're a guy with a criminal record, doesn't mean that that you're a bad guy
No, it
and
doesn't.
you should get beaten up. And even in George
Right,
Floyd's case, ODs and dies, and they let him die. You know, like that. That's not what I'm saying. But the story isn't clear cut,
right,
and it's not black and white. It's gray, and that's gray is where they can manipulate the situation. So
right.
the story happens. They had the court case, and I don't know if because I know with the OJ trial they filmed it. It was must see TV, which is somewhat the basically the kickoff of reality television. You know, they had the real world stuff like that, but
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
realized that people wanted
Yeah.
to watch this. The emotion of it really captured people. So this trial goes on. They're found not guilty.
Mhm.
Shockwaves through from both sides too, not just white, not just black people, but also white people. I'm sure the
Yeah.
Korean, the Asians, the Latinos, kind of shocked that this verdict happened, and chaos breaks out. Now, do you remember where you were? Do you talk about this in your book when
Yeah.
you found out things were starting to pop off?
Right, right. I talk about that in my book. I basically walk everybody through the events of that week, but then I build up to it because people are going to know my background. Like I said, I lived in LA for almost 50 years. You know, so next year will be 50 years, I mean 49 years. So I have like deep roots in the city with people, with people that know me for a long time. I talk about that. I talk about my background, what it was growing up in the 80s and 90s, why I suppose I kind of, I enjoyed my obscurity up until now, and then so I reveal a lot about that in my book. And when I wrote my book, I actually had to have a few people okay it before I was able to release it because I talk about things about the past that happened, with myself and a few friends. And then my kids had to be okay with it as well because there's information in there that's going to kind of change the perspective of how people are going to look at me as well. On top of
Was it a hard sell to your kids that everyone's going to know their dad's a badass?
no, well, I mean that's very flattering, but there's other things in the book that's not as flattering. So it's
Uh,
yeah, so
that's
it may not be as flattering is what I'm saying, So I'm just leaving that as open-ended. But yeah, anyway, I talk about how um, you know the events and then what led up to the events, my background, and then regarding like you know exactly where I was when that happened, which was I was working at a car dealership when it happened. And I
how
remember
old were you when this happened?
I was 19.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was 19 and then yeah, I remember watching because they turned on the news and I was working as a sales guy. And then I was watching it and that's when it just kind of I go into the book about what happened after that. And then the big thing is on Friday because the call, like I said, the call went out on Thursday and then we all answered it on Friday. So everybody went out on Friday. And it's interesting because in
When you
Korean,
say the call, you're talking about Koreans basically putting out distress call that, hey, we might need help here.
right. So there's a radio station called Radio Korea. And the current owner is the son of the previous owner that sent out the call. So I met and I spoke with him. But yeah, I mean they're still around. They sent out the call on Wednesday. I mean on Thursday, and then everybody answered it on Friday. And everybody went on Friday. But the interesting thing is, culturally speaking, like in America, we're called what Rooftop Korean, Roof Koreans, right? But in Korean, they're termed differently. We're termed as Rooftop Citizens Army, which basically is a militia, you know.
Yeah.
So we don't they don't they don't call us Roof Koreans in Korea. They'll call us the Rooftop Citizens Army. That's the reference that that's how they kind of label us, right? So we're a citizens army, which is basically what? It's a militia.
Which is what
Do-
the Second
do-
Amendment's about.
Do Koreans related to that? Do Koreans, American Koreans, generally have like a high firearms ownership rate? Would you say? So,
It's by generation. I would say like the older guys like myself, I mean, I'd say like 40s and older, probably. It's the younger generations that are a little bit more lib. So they may not, but I know the older guys like myself, my friends, my generation, we all have firearms,
okay.
but the
Is that
younger ones,
How much does that have to do with South Korea having compulsory military service for men?
Well, so for us, I mean, we grew up here, so
Yeah, but the
yeah,
like
I got a story.
some people grew up in Korea though, right? That came here with and that were beside you, I assume, right? That were
Yeah, well, if they come from Korea and they come here and they're gonna live here permanently, oh, dude, they're gonna go like they buy guns.
yeah.
They go to Spain. They go all out, man. They have a good time. I mean, they have a better time than I do. Honestly, they really get into it because it's not legal in Korea. So
Yeah.
they start collections and they'll buy tons of stuff. And yeah, I mean,
That's cool.
yeah.
When that call was made, did you guys hit up your friends or did you just get?
Yeah, what was that call?
Yeah.
Like, what was the call? The radio broadcast. What was the call? And by the way, just a change of the times. The fact that you're 19 and a car deal sales, like you would never find a 19-year-old today working in a car dealership. You never, like, dude, I'm from your generation. We're the same generation.
Yeah.
My dad told me when my birthday, he goes, you know, you're getting for your birthday, 16 years old. I go, what? He goes, a job. And I've been working ever since. So the fact that you were 19 in a car dealership is just a sign of how things have changed. But when does that call come out, and what was the call? I know I'm not specifically, but generally.
Right. Okay. So I speak Korean, but not to the point where I understand like what's coming out of the news, right? I mean, like I told you, it's a totally two different level of speaking Korean between your peers and the formality of it. So when they sent out the call, it came out through the Korean state broadcasting station, like the radio station that they had, Radio Korea. But the thing is, I never got it. I never got the call. Like, oh, like it's not like I got the call. Like, all right, I'm going out because I got the call. The call I got was from my friend. He called me that evening, and he was like, "Hey, like, are you watching what's going on?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, how can you not? And he was like, "Yeah, you know, his brother owned a stereo shop on Vermont, and he was like, yeah, we should go down there because it might get dicey." So I was like, yeah, cool, let's go. So he makes the call, I pick it up, then he comes gets me in the morning, and then we roll out to Koreatown. And we were
Now, did you have a gun with you, or did they have guns for you there?
no, I have my own gun. First gun I got was when I was 18. I bought my first shotgun. So that's the first paycheck. When I got my first paycheck, man, I got my
Respect.
So yeah, so I took that. He had his brother's Beretta's 9 is 92 FS. He had that, so we went down and we were on the east side of Koreatown.
Was this before it became a felony to carry in LA?
Dude, we weren't thinking about
Dude,
that.
it was chaos.
I'm just asking. I don't know
XG.
because
No,
I
that's
don't
a
know
good
what year.
question.
No,
Imagine getting a ticket for having
That's a good question.
arms.
We weren't thinking about that. I mean,
no, but there was
honestly,
a year. Yeah, there was a year
These kids,
before.
dude. These kids don't
Dude.
get it.
honestly, no one was gonna stop us anyway. There's no cops.
You're right. Yeah, I forgot.
Right? So who's gonna give me a ticket? Who's gonna tell me that's a felony? You got to give up your shotgun. I'm like, no, man. There were no cops.
And what
This
jury
is
would
90s.
convict you? A jury, no jury would convict you of that. In that
And
situation.
this is okay. So let me just paint another picture. So LAPD in the 90s is different than LAPD in now, right? So LAPD in the 90s were a different breed of cops. You can with these guys, right? These guys were like on every third block. LAPD was out because back then they had a thing called Crash, which was against gangs, right? So I talk about that in my book. I'm very intimately familiar with them. And then I talk about how basically the Rampart scandal, that happened in late 90s. But this is all, Training Day, the movie, it was based off of that. So this is all 90s LA, right? So you got to think about how a lot of guys felt going out into like the streets, seeing no cops at all. I mean, that's kind of where the mayhem starts in Koreatown. I talk about how all the shootings start in Koreatown because there's a lack of police presence. So everybody feels emboldened to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah. So you get down there. How many of you guys ended up showing up? Do you remember?
Well, it's not like we all had a meeting and then we
Yeah.
all kind of dispersed, but it's like you're talking about pockets, and it's not like we all knew each other, right? It's not like there's a national Korean meeting. We all meet every quarter and we talk about shit, right? You know what I mean? There's no meeting. Everybody has their own little cliques, right? Like I talk about my dad. He had his own group of friends that he went out to. I mean, I have no idea who his friends are. It's not like we linked up and we never.
Right.
So everybody was just in their own little shop, plaza, block, whatever, just kind of manning. But I would say less than 100. I mean, because I rode around that week. I mean, that day and that week, and I was looking around the businesses, and I'd say it's probably less than 100. You had pockets of, 4 or 5 guys here, several guys there, but nothing where you can say, oh yeah, this is all coordinated. These guys are all linked up, and they know.
That suggests no hierarchy, right? What sent you where you went? Like, who said? Did you decide where to go? Who sent? Who
It was
sent,
his friend's brother's.
Yeah. It's like if I call, like, hey Johnny, my
But you said
brother's
you were
gonna,
you said you were on like a patrol, right? Like moving around,
right, right. So
Oh,
it's like if I call
snaps.
you Johnny, right, and I say, hey Johnny, like, my brother's gonna need some help, and I'm gonna go pick you up, and you're like, okay, cool, let's go. It's like that. It was so informal. It wasn't anything like, there was no structure. It was just like, shit, we got to go.
Hey guys, real quick, I'll tell you about our good friends at Quince. Listen, a well-built wardrobe is about pieces that work together and hold up over time. That's what Quince does best. Premium materials, thoughtful designs, and everyday staples that feel easy to wear and easy to rely on even as the weather shifts.
Quince has everyday essentials that I love with quality that lasts. They have organic cotton sweaters, polos for every occasion, and even lighter jackets that keep you warm in the changing seasons. The list goes on. Quince works directly with top factories and cuts out the middlemen, so you're not paying for brand markup. You just get quality clothing. Everything is built to hold up to daily wear and still look good season after season. Plus, they only partner with factories that meet rigorous standards for craftsmanship and ethical production.
Guys, I look good. I mean, whether it's their sweaters, their slacks, I'm look like a man on the go who knows what he's doing in life. Even though I'm white knuckling it, I look like I know what to know. Okay, and that's why we need you to do this. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/tinfoil hat for free shipping on your order. And listen to this: 365-day returns. Come on now.
Wow.
Now available in Canada. Yeah. You're welcome, Canada. That's how nice we are here at Tinfoil Hat. We talk to them. We go, we got a lot of people in Canada. Can you take care of them? We're like, we're right on it, Mr. Tripoli. We're right on it. Okay. So that's QUINCE.com/tinfoil hat. Free shipping and 365-day returns. That's quince.com/tinfoil hat.
Was there any Mexicans or black that were part of the Korean rooftops that were just not recognized because obviously they were just one of
Off-brand?
hundreds? Was there an off-brand guy where he's like, yo, he's the homie?
Yeah, I would say, well, the employees, the stereo shop that my friend's older brother was a manager and had black and Hispanic employees. Those guys came strapped to work, and they were moving equipment away from the windows and boarding shit up. And yeah, those guys were ready to get down too because they work there. I mean, that's how they pay their bills,
dude. They need to keep their jobs.
Exactly. I mean,
It burns down, there's no jobs.
Everybody didn't know how long this was gonna go. I had no idea how long this was gonna go, but it was just like shit. Until this thing blows over, we just got to make sure this place doesn't get burned down, looted. We still got merchandise to sell, the next day when all this thing is done. So that's kind of the mindset those guys had. But yeah, they weren't gonna go outside of their the retail store that they had, and I'm gonna go protect that shop, like 4 buildings down. It was nothing like that.
So you get there. Is your car most of the people that got there, or did other cars show up and you were like, okay, they're here too?
No, it was just me and my friend. We got there and we checked in with his brother and we're like, hey, we're here. We're like, okay, we got this place secure. I got some buddies over on, I'm sure you're from LA, but on Olympic in New Hampshire, which is by Vermont. It's a block west of Vermont, New Hampshire. If you go by drive there, Sam, you'll see there's a green wrought iron fence that got put up after the riots. But prior to the riots, that wasn't there. And they were pulling all their cars into the perimeter of the parking lot, trying to create a barrier so that basically when they were getting shot at, it would hit the cars instead of, hitting the sides of the building. So when we got there, then we got the intel, like they're getting shot at by these guys. So then we found out what kind of car they're in, right? They're in this car, right? And there's 4 of them, right? So and it's not just a one-off. They're doing multiple passes at them, And when we got the description of the car and the guys, we already knew who these guys were. It was MS that was down there.
Whoa, MS.
Yeah,
Damn, dude. That long ago. Wow.
Well, yeah, MS started in the mid 80s when a lot of they Well, you know what? You guys are gonna like my book. I talk about MS too, so you'll like my book. So anyway, yeah, they started in the mid '80s. They were in the Pico Union area of downtown LA, right near MacArthur Park. From there, they spread up to Hollywood. They went up to San Fernando Valley too, because a lot of them got bussed up to Grand High School. I don't know if you know where Grand High is, but they got bussed up to Grand High, and they started their own little clique up there too. But those guys were shooting at the older guys on in the plaza, and we knew that because of the car that they were in. They were in a white four-door Toyota Corollas, and we knew it was MS because that's the car those guys drove. Everybody else who was like 18th Street, mainly 18th Street that's down there. Those guys drove like Buicks, Caddy, Regals, those types of cars, right? MS was the only ones that drove Toyota Corolla. So we knew it was those guys. So we rode around looking for those guys, and when we found them, I think we found them, but we weren't 100% sure. So we had this confrontation. We had this little moment. But then after we went back and the shooting stopped.
Whoa, you had a moment with MS-13? What was that like?
Well, I think it was it was. So we know the car that they were in. So by the time we found them, they were actually parked in front of like a duplex, and these guys were washing their car. I don't know why they were washing, but
in the middle of a riot, you're washing your car.
Well, yeah, seriously, right? And I mean, they're dressed. Two of them are dressed the part. One guy doesn't look the part. We're not 100% sure it's these guys at all, right? Or if it's these guys. We know it's a car. We're not sure it's 100% sure it's these guys, and they're doing the weirdest thing. They're washing their car, in the middle of all this like shit that's happening. So we were driving by, and I eyeball these guys, and we driving by, and they see us coming because there's really no cars. There's no traffic out there. There's no cars. It's just us, really nobody else. So we pull up, and we eyeball them. They eyeball us, and we're not 100% sure. So I'm not going to blast guys that I'm not 100% sure on, but we do need to send the message because I'm pretty sure these guys are MS. So all I did was I basically lifted up my shotgun so they can get a good look at it. My friend takes out his 9. He holds it out to them so he can see the 9, and then we just kind of roll by, and then we eyeball them. We know we're letting them know that we know that who's out here and that we're out here too now.
Wow, I never knew that.
So after that, we went back, and then like the older guys were like, yeah, there's no more shooting. So from there, we just we went to go check in on some other friend that we had, and then we went to get food, and that was like pretty much the whole day. But
man, God bless the car wash that stays open during a riot, dude.
No,
hey, dude, they're gonna have to clean these cars. This might be a car wash.
They were in front of an apartment duplex or a duplex, washing their car on the fucking lawn. They were fucking washing their car, and that just kind of blew us away. Like, what the fuck are these guys doing? I mean, it's like smoke, gunshots. There's gunshots that are reverberating.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, you're hearing gunshots from the east, from the west, and then I talk about how LA was very gang heavy, so that
still is, I think.
Yeah, and scores got settled that week that we're not even aware of. Because if you're gonna ride on your enemies, it's gonna be that week, right? Because you're not gonna leave any real evidence. There's not gonna be a real investigation, and you can pretty much get away with murder.
Not ask if there was any investigation. Did the cops show up a couple days later and be like,
dude?
I mean, I don't even know. That's
the amount of paperwork you'd have to do. They're like, just clean it. It was basically the purge for like 2 days. Like you can get away with whatever the fuck you want at that point. You get into gangs. Now, I don't want to get you in trouble or anything, but are there Korean gangs?
There are. I talk about that in my book. One of the biggest Korean gangs in LA at that time was a gang called Korean Killers, KK. So they started in Koreatown. They had beef with the Chinatown gangs.
Oh, snaps.
And then the guy who we went to go for the stereo shop, my friend's older brother, he was a KK member. He was actually one of the main guys. So
and what were they doing during this time when you were guarding these shops? Were they guarding shops, or do you know what they were getting into?
Well, see, when that Korean gang KK, that's the older generation. These are like the older brothers that we've had, older brothers, uncles that were part of that. The guys that like guys like us, the next generation, second generation of guys were different breeds. So it's not like we all knew each other, but there was kind of, I would say, an unspoken truce between a lot of us. Like, this takes precedence over anything else. And I'm not saying that that was spoken, but it was kind of understood because there was other guys that went down to South Central, right? We were in Koreatown, but some guys went down to South Central, and I guess they went on the Thursday. No, on the Thursday, and then they were trying to do whatever to help, but I mean they couldn't salvage what was already looted. I mean, what are you going to protect? A store that's already been looted? I mean, what do you protect?
Yeah.
Right? The door. You know what I mean? All the merchandise is already gone. So yeah, so everybody, I guess those guys came back up to Koreatown, and that's when the next day on Friday is when all the shooting started in Koreatown, and there was pretty much the video that you see with David Jew shooting, that popular video that you see, that's on Western between 8th and 9th. You know where that is, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
9th is now James Woods, but I still call it 9th. It's 9th Street. So that plaza's still there, and where he's shooting right across the street is that iconic picture of those guys on the roof with they're looking out into the horizon, and you got the rifles, and you got that iconic roof line. That's across the street from that plaza. So my understanding is when they were getting shot at, it wasn't MS, because on that side of town, it's mainly run by 18th Street. So I'm suspecting it was probably 18th Street that was doing the shooting on those guys on that side.
What, these right here?
Yeah, that one. See that roof line? On the far left. Yeah, that one. So that plaza, that's on Western between 8th and 9th. And that roof line is right across the street from the plaza. And David Jew, the shooting is in that plaza, right? And in that plaza, there's actually a gun store that they were giving away guns that week. Making sure that people brought him back, after it all settled,
That's crazy.
Damn, dude. So when you get back, do you go on the rooftop? How did you guys decide to get on the rooftop? Was there people below? What was it?
Well, it was the older. I always say it's the older guys that were on the rooftops. That's the iconic. Those are our uncles and brothers. The guys you don't see are guys like us that were on the street. That knew where we were going. Like we knew MS territory. And I talk about that in my book, and it's part of my background. But we knew where MS territory was. We knew exactly where to go. We knew what we were looking for. So you can say we were more hunting than on the rooftop, So yeah, because like for us, it was like these fucking assholes are shooting at our uncles and our brothers. We know who these guys are, so we're just gonna fucking nip it in the bud. We're just gonna go to their territory and there,
Yes, dude. Respect on that. So how long did I don't remember how long the riots went. How long do you remember how long they went for?
From Wednesday to the weekends. I think Friday, Saturday, and then Saturday is when the National Guard came.
And they all calmed down. So
it was all calm by Saturday.
After that, when did the legend of the Rooftop Koreans start to come? When did you realize that, wow, we were part of something really insane?
In 2020.
Really?
I had no idea, dude. Like 30 plus years went by, I have no clue. I was living my life doing my thing. I had
how did you find out? Well, were you on Facebook or Instagram and you saw something about it? You're like, holy shit. Now, did you call yourselves Rooftop Koreans, or is that something you learned from this discovery?
I think it's just something I learned from discovery. I mean, that it was already out there, and I was like, I need a handle for X. I need a cool handle for X. And I just kind of like, okay, well, what can I look for? And then for some reason, the riots came up. I don't know how that happened. But then Roof Korean 7 on Twitter, I didn't even pick that. That was like assigned to me by Twitter. I was like, that's cool. I'll take that. I was like, shit, I'll take that. That's not like, so everyone's like, hey, what happened to 1 through 6? Why didn't you pick 1? I was like, because X or Twitter gave me 7. So I'll just pick 7. But yeah, I had no idea for like until 2020, when I started the account because of the election, the 2020 election. I'm a numbers guy. I can read numbers, and man, that was like fraud up the ass.
I want to get into all that because I find that super interesting.
Yeah.
So you did from the 92 to 2020, you just think you're just a normal dude, and little did you find out you're this kind of legend. Was there ever there was no discussion in the Korean community about you guys? Was South Korea talking about you guys? I mean, anything like that?
Well, maybe shortly after the incident, but after that, no, because I think it's culturally, it hurt culturally, because one, we were singled out, as a group. Two, the economic damages, and also the devastation it left. A lot of these businesses, some of them didn't have, insurance to cover the merchandise. So coming to America and then starting a business, entrepreneur, and then failing at that because it got burned in a riot. Next thing you know, you're cleaning toilets at Target, at some minimum wage job. I mean, and then you have a college degree from Korea, from probably one of the best, universities in Korea. It's insulting. So that hurt too, And I think to a certain degree, the community itself wanted to put it behind them, because it felt so un-American, right? Because here we are being singled out, and being targeted. When, I mean, one guy says, like, shit, we didn't beat Rodney King. Why is this happening to us, right? And then it's not like we all shot that teenager either. It was one person, but somehow the whole community got the blame for it. So because of that, along with the fact that it also brought out, not for the defenders, it was not just the older guys, but it also brought out what I want to say a darker element that helped protect the community, which they don't want to acknowledge either, because it also admits to the fact that not everything Korean is K-pop and smiley, sunny, happy, shit like that. Like there's a darker side, like to Korean history and to culture that I guess most Americans aren't aware of yet. So
I find it amazing, dude, because that's all I would talk about for 20 years. It's about
Really?
how badass I was.
Shit,
that
dude,
would be the
read
name
my
of this
book.
podcast. Sam Tripoli, Rooftop Korean.
Yeah, if I could be a Rooftop Korean, I would love it, dude. That'd be the
Once
best.
you read my book, you'll understand. Like, oh, okay, I get why to him it was like, okay, shit, it was like a week for him.
I'm gonna buy your book. Is it available to buy right now?
Yes.
Okay.
The kinetic edition. That's where I hole punch it with the bullet.
That's so cool.
Okay, I'm going to buy it for sure. So you've mentioned the 2020 election. You mentioned January 6th. I wanted to kind of get into this after you told your story. There's a lot of chaos going on in the world right now. It probably seems more on social media than it actually is, but this is how we interact now. You say you're a numbers guy. What are your thoughts on the 2020 election?
Yeah, I think it was fraudulent. I mean, there's enough video evidence that came out regarding one. I'll just kind of run through a few of them, right? The pizza box incidents on the window. Then you had the ballots coming out with, those travel luggages. Then you had ballots that were multiple scanned. You had ballots that showed up late in the evening, early in the morning. The fucking count goes only one way, right? It always goes one way. It never goes.
It's crazy to me,
always
right?
fucking one way, right? And then you got Biden, a fucking vegetable, and the basement. I got more votes than the first black president.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. So that's where the numbers didn't work out. And I was like, shit, dude, like this is bad, because back then we were still in COVID too, right? I mean, 2020, COVID just started. Everyone was starting to lock down in March, and we ran through the summer, like a whole, 6-foot distancing, and you can't go inside and eat. All that shit was happening in LA, and then it was getting even more draconian. So for me, the 2020 election was like, okay, he's going to fix this. We're going to fix this by 2021, right? It's we're going to say like, okay, COVID isn't that bad. You don't have to fucking wear a mask all the time, or your plastic bullshit shield, like, you're out in space. Like, it's all going to be cool. But then when the 22 election happened, and then you see the results and how the ballot worked down, it was like, I kind of like, I lost my shit. I was like, this is not going to be good for us, So, and I think that's where I did the research and I came up with the handle and all that,
Yeah, I it's really crazy because last night I have another podcast, and I just bought your book, by the way.
Thank you, Sam.
I know, I'm very excited. I can't wait to read
You're
it.
in LA. Let me sign it for you when it comes.
I'll meet up with you anytime, dude. Anytime you want to hook up,
we'll
dude,
shoot it together.
I'll buy you lunch. I'd hang out with you anytime. You're a hero to me. I had an argument on another podcast. I have this debate podcast, and he's like, every election is stolen. I'm like, but that's not good. Like, to just accept it that every election is stolen. Okay. And you have the people like elections don't matter, blah blah blah. I go, if they didn't matter, why would they be spending so much money on propaganda and all that stuff? Because they have to convince us to follow them. So that is the game in the elections. Did they do the right thing? Did their propaganda work? And when it's not working, that's when the rigging comes in. And that's why, as you brought up, for the first time I'm 53 years old. At the time of 2000, I was like, what, 47, and first time ever I see a delay in count. Like, oh, we're going to stop counting. Like,
Yeah.
we're tired. We're going to take it. We got to take a nap so then we can get back to counting. And then they get back to counting, and all of the ballots coming in are all for Joe Biden. And even though there's no real place where Joe Biden ever had a giant swell of support. You're talking about the guy who you brought up, got the more votes than Obama. When he comes into the primary, he's seventh. That, like, Obama came in like a bat out of hell. He didn't come in like seventh and he had to work his way to the top, and then everybody drops out, and then it's just giant thievery, just like they did with George Bush in Florida. And it's like the way people just accept it, and they would rather be right than do right. And do right is to admit that we all got taken, and they put this, just like you said, vegetable in to open the borders, and we can get into whatever that represents. But
So they did a test run in April, before November, in South Korea. The same issues in April of that year, 2020. They had an election in South Korea, same issues. And the vote all went one way. And it was like, I think they recorded as the largest turnout, largest one-way vote like a party's ever gotten. Like bullshit like that. So they test ran it before they brought it here. And they ran it on us in November. Right? Because they're not going to test run it on us here. They're going to test run it someplace else.
Yes, here's where the finished product comes.
Exactly.
Because this is where their military comes from. This is where the Federal Reserve is that funds all of it. And it's, even when Hillary kneecaps Bernie Sanders, and at the time I liked Bernie, I had a wrong view of socialism back then, but I was like, whatever the people want, they should get. And then she kneecaps them. I'm like that, and people just formed right behind Hillary. I go, that's not right. That's not who you wanted. The people should get who they want, and it's just
Seth
shocking
Rich.
to me, the learned helplessness.
Remember that name, Seth Rich?
Yep. Yeah, dude, 100. Man, we've been. So it sounds like you're into conspiracies. This has been conspiracy Christmas lately, with all these drops and everything coming out that we see. But it's just crazy to me. So when you think about your riots, and the riots, not your riot, but the riots that happened during the Rooftop Korean situation, and you look at what's going on now, January 6th and all that stuff. What are your thoughts?
What do you mean? Like how? Like what do you mean?
Like you brought up January 6th earlier, and I think we might align on a lot of things. What are your thoughts on January 6th?
I was there.
You were there.
Whoa.
I was there. Can I use the restroom real quick?
Yeah, go use the restroom for sure. Go use the restroom.
We don't realize how long we go.
Yeah, we're about to wrap it up. We'll go like a couple more minutes.
No, what I mean is just like people don't. I think people assume like, oh, okay, we'll do like a quick half hour. So we see that sometimes.
That's why Sam pees before the show starts.
That's why I pee before the show, Johnny. And you can cut this out, right?
What do you? Okay, so
I'll keep it going.
Welcome
to Pee Pee Poo
None of
Poo
us are
Talk.
part of a community that a call would go out and we would ban. You know what I mean? Like my family, I would do that for my family, and maybe the people in my social circle. But there's nothing.
The only thing I think outside of family would be the Comedy Store for me. If people called and said the Comedy Store might be in trouble. I remember during the George Floyd, there was talk about that we might have to defend the store. And I was like, I was ready to grab a gun and drive down.
Oh, interesting. I just wonder if you think that
we
would
can't burn down Mecca.
I mean, you got to think about it.
Tony, do you think that would happen today? Like, if the Korean community was threatened in the same way today, do you think that they would? Is there a mechanism and like a sense of community for them to come together like there was then?
I think so. Because a lot of the younger guys felt like they missed out. So a lot of the younger guys are going to be like, you know what? Like, if it happens, we're going to be down there, and they're probably going to come from Orange County, Ventura. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So.
Okay. Right on. We were just
mean,
saying,
we
I don't know if
didn't
you
do
heard us.
it.
We were saying we don't feel like we have that. Like there's,
I
I don't
have
know.
I have that with the Comedy Store because during the BLM riots there was talk that things were possibly going to be heading towards the store, and if anyone
Mhm.
wanted to come down, and I was like, I was ready to go, dude.
Yeah, man.
I got guns, so I was ready to go down,
Defend comedy.
defend comedy, defend the Comedy Store because it's done
Yeah.
so much for me. That I was ready to do that. It was very crazy to me. It's crazy times, you know. But
Going
we'll
back to
wrap it.
Jason,
Let's go on.
Jason,
Sorry.
so you want to talk about January 6th?
Yeah. What were your thoughts on that whole thing?
Well, I was there because, obviously the election. So when he sent out the call, like, hey, we're gonna protest and we want a second review, I was like, yeah, I'm down with that. So I went with everybody else. And when I got there, I mean, there was gonna be a program and all that, but then, I mean, people were leaving during the middle of a speech because we saw people trickling over to the Capitol building, right? So we thought that was rude. Like, I was with like some other people. I was like, that's rude, right? But we didn't know that these guys that were leaving were the ones that were already they were basically, getting physical with Capitol Police, and they were already fighting to basically pull down the barricades and all that. So by the time the rest of the crowd got there, some of the barricades were already down. The entrances were being opened. Where I was right at the steps, so we were just on the steps. But I think on the other sides, people were being filtered into the Capitol building. So I think it was the next morning that really kind of it struck me that the next morning on the 7th, whenever everything came to light, like Ashley Babbitt and everything else in terms of what happened and how they were starting to paint this as an insurrection a lot. And I was like, it was a setup, and it's in my book as well because the publisher had me take the story from the riots because I start the story from 2021 Wispa. There was a protest at Wispa, and I start there and I take it through the riots and I bring it back to 2021. But yeah, it was like I knew like that morning that once we got the news regarding Ashley and how they're painting, like it was just going to be a bad 4 years for us, through that current administration until we get another shot at it, But yeah, I knew it was shit.
Any thoughts on it being an intelligence operation with tons of intelligence officers all over the place?
Yeah, it was feds were involved. Not only that, but in my book, I'll talk about this now, where I saw coordination that was similar to the Hong Kong protesters in 2019, how they were coordinating that at the Capitol building. And I know for a fact that a lot of the conservatives, right-wing, groups, they didn't have that type of training. So the training, the thing that I saw them doing there was very similar to what they did in Hong Kong with the Hong Kong police and how they were moving items to the front of the crowd and orders were being sent to the back and things were, and then they did an interview with someone and how they were coordinating that. And I remember watching that and then watching what happened at the Capitol, and it was so eerily similar that I was like, fuck, there's something up with this, And not only that, but we found someone that had an anarchy tattoo on their hand.
Oh, snaps.
Yeah, it was, and then he called them out. And then as soon as he got called out, the guy basically scurried back into the crowd and we tried to follow him, but we lost him in the crowd. And that's when we knew, like, shit, the reason why there's no huge Antifa presence that we're accustomed to seeing, like, from November and October is because they're in the crowd with us. And that's kind of how we figured out, like, they're in the crowd with us, but not only that, but, feds as well. So,
yeah, I think that was part of the Michigan governor kidnapping case to establish domestic terrorism, and now they're labeling these people in Minneapolis as domestic terrorism. And the game they play is get you to be okay with them doing it to someone you don't like, because once they label you a domestic terrorist, your constitutional rights are out the door, so they're grabbing all these immigrants and, we could have a discussion on whether that's right or wrong. And I'd say you break the law, but they're using a sledgehammer for something that needs a scalpel, but I think that's all part of the game. But once you get okay with that, accepting it with others, then boom, they turn around and they do it right to you. So we have to be very cautious on how we move forward. I'm going to end the interview on this. How are your two things? How are your kids reacting to you going to January 6th?
They were young then. They were younger, like around 10 and 12. So I had to explain to them why I was doing what I was doing. I mean, my youngest one, my daughter, she cried, right? She didn't want me to leave. But I had to explain to them like this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm going, and I'm not like politically active. The last you know, protest I attended was back in 2003 when, we were going into Iraq after 9/11, right? So that was like right 2 years after 9/11, we went to Iraq, which was like bullshit.
Yeah,
Right? So
I love you, buddy. You're the best.
that's the last protest I went to. So I had to tell her why I was going to this next protest in 2020, 2021 in DC, and it's fucked up, man, because I want to go to DC with my family and do the whole snap pictures in front of the Lincoln, all that
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm going there. My first trip is to fucking contest an election, yeah. So I had to explain that. So yeah, so it wasn't the best conversation, but I had to have it.
Well, last question is, we've seen memes about Korean culture, and they show one of the badass guys from Bloodsport, and he's this thick martial artist, and then they show K-pop. What are your thoughts on like the whole K-pop movement and all that stuff, and how big K-pop Demon Hunters gotten, and are you cool with it? Do you think it's are we old heads going, what's up with all these femi guys? Like, what are your thoughts on all that?
I have a teenage daughter. She's 15. Does that answer your question? I went to the Twice concert 2 weeks ago.
How was
I liked it. I had fun. But my fun was just watching my daughter like lose her mind, and videoing her. That was fun.
That must have been so much fun.
I mean, compared to what's coming out in Hollywood, all the fucking demonic, satanic shit. I mean, K-pop is like it's so harmless, it's so happy, feely goody. You know what I mean? It's wholesome compared to like the stuff that Hollywood is, like the music industry right now is producing.
Yeah,
it's just
shit. Spice. That new.
No, but Bad Bunny, like this Super Bowl is going to be such a this Super Bowl halftime show is going to be so demonic, and it's just I guess they've just decided to do cultural Marxism in our sports. Sports used to be bread and circus to help us forget our problems. Now it's the only thing we watch, so they decide to corrupt that as well. Tony, listen, you can come on the show anytime you want, even if you're not pushing a book. You just want to talk conspiracies, you have an open door to come on. If you need to talk to someone who thinks like you, the door is wide open any and all time. One more time, tell them about your book, buddy.
Yeah, it's Rooftop Korean, scheduled for April of this year. That's what we're hoping to, have it released, but we'll see. I think it'll be a great read. It's going to change perhaps perception regarding the riots, and also perhaps regarding how one immigrant like myself sees what's happening right now in America, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. So yeah,
dude, you gotta make shirts. I would buy a Rooftop Korean shirt right now. I was looking for it, dude. I'd be like, I'd wear that with pride.
Yeah, I know. I mean, let's see how the book does. I think the book was gonna do well, but we can do the merch after, I suppose.
I hope you sell it as a movie, buddy. I'd be so happy for you. You're such a good dude, man. We really appreciate you coming on, dude. Again, open door anytime, and let's break down the episode. All right, Tony Moon, I'm gonna jump in and say right out the gate. They say don't meet your heroes. Well, today we met our hero, and it was excellent. That was an excellent episode.
Yep.
Yep. He's a fucking legend.
You couldn't even ask for a better interview from a guy that was so badass.
Cool person, cool background.
Johnny, so your story is in the middle of some riots. You make a call to XG. You make a call to me. Who shows up first?
Well, I mean, XG, it lives in Glendale, so it's going to be you, obviously.
Thank you.
Hey, but I'm gonna come with homies. I'm gonna come with some homies. As long as you let us smoke weed at your shop, we'll take care of
that's what I was about to say. After you guys finish the bong, then you'll be there. Yeah, it is. There's something. He didn't seem to agree with this, but I just feel like that's something that's kind of lost now. That sense of like people
There's
banding
no
together
community.
against the government and against other criminals in the streets and stuff. I mean, it just feels like we're all so divided now that you couldn't get really, because that's just I don't know. There's something with that story. Is just that part of that story anyway. Is just like something wholesome and it's a good feeling. Like, hey, when it came to it, people came together. When it got down to the real, like there was a real element of danger. We even the kids, he was 19, bro. Even
Dude, he was 19 and he was a car salesman.
crazy.
He's a 19, a car salesman. I mean, what are we
wonder,
doing here?
Like, are you really going to get 19-year-olds off the video games to
You're going to get a 19-year-old to go sell an adult a car?
Yeah, that's
Is that
true.
what you think you're doing?
And you know what's weird? Because him as a 19-year-old, he went there to kind of defend the city. I've known people that were his age that were coming in from Orange County to go loot. Like the whole opposite mentality of like, hey, oh my God, LA's going down. Let me go get TV.
We're so out of whack right now. We're so out of whack. What we worship, how we see the world is so half-assed backwards. It's
I can see that happening in the country, like people coming out, but more like defending their property, their farm. You know what I mean? Not like in the city. I could see people coming on the farm. I fantasize about that sometimes, thinking about like where I would set up if there were people trying to get on the property. Where the sight lines are. I watched. You talked about this in the past, Sam. Someone did a timeline. You remember that movie Civil War, where it's like Texas and California got together to start the Civil War. They did like a timeline of how that was supposed to go down, and it was just the most ridiculous idea of how Civil War might happen. It was, and it's purely based on like Trump deciding that he doesn't want to leave.
Which could happen.
Essential. Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. I think he's more likely to kind of cheat like the rules, like the gray area. Maybe he said he wouldn't do this, but I could see him totally running as Vance's vice president, Vance stepping down, and then him becoming president, something like that.
What about
Dude, imagine taking it a butt from Peter Thiel and then be like, I gotta step down.
That's what Putin did, dude. Putin had Medvedev. He just kind of flip-flopped with Medvedev, and he was still essentially in charge. And then came back, which is weird to me because they say Putin's a full-ass dictator, but he cared enough about the constitutional system to to leave for a little while. Now he's
don't trust any leaders.
No, what about the theory? What about the theory about him getting impeached if the Democrats take over the next term or whatever? Is that even possible with this whole new drop?
I'm going to be honest with you, dude. This notion that there's this groundswell for Democrats is laughable to me.
People are just tired of everything.
I mean, I don't think they like the Republicans either.
That's what I mean. Yeah, they just want to change.
But I think they hate the Democrats more. I mean, with all this fraud coming out, I mean, the Democrats play so fucking dirty, dude. The Republicans do too. But it's more about the two wings of the rotten bird. But my God, dude, they are so dirty.
Well, we just talked about it, though. It's not really going to matter because the way they've gerrymandered California, they're still going to win in the midterms because of the Supreme Court now has said, okay.
Let's say we elect a Republican for governor. Can he go in and take that out? Can he appeal that? Can he use his governor powers?
Well, once it's in the law, I would assume that it would take, because it's not an executive order, right? It's actually something that passed the legislature, if I'm not mistaken. So it would have to be, it's not like he could veto it after it's become law. So I guess no, I don't think so, Sam.
Unbelievable.
But it is temporary. It's not permanent, if I'm not mistaken. It's just a temporary thing, like in essence. But they say there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government program. So
yeah, I'm with you.
We'll see.
Crazy. Guys, I made it on Osmond Gold. How cool is that?
That's great, dude.
Yeah. I love Osmond Gold. He called me. How did this guy know?
You've been having a good month. You had a hour.
Johnny just does not respect my psychic abilities. And by psychic abilities,
correct.
Mel K telling me.
Yeah. All right. What's the next prediction?
Everyone keeps asking me. I'm not going to force it. They're like, what's next? I'm like, I don't know, man. When I know, I'll tell you. It's like crazy to me. Guys, if you go to samtripoli.com, You can check out my my wonderful website, putting up stuff constantly. Already getting great. If you go to samtripoli.com, Hollywood, Perryville, Pottstown, Vegas, Bakersfield, Yuma, Hollywood, California, Batavia, Toronto, Dallas, Fort Worth. God, I want to get out of Hollywood so bad. Huntington Beach, Albuquerque, Lawrence, Kansas, Tulsa. Whoa, there's another one. And then, I got to put up the big 1000th episode of Tinfoil Hat live, June 18th at the mothership, our 1000th episode. We're so excited. I'm excited, and then I'm going to be headlining the mothership at the end of the year. Yep, all my premium content's there, everybody. It's the best premium content you will ever see. There's nobody putting out better. I do shows with the best of the best. Austin Picard, Brad Binkley, Kurt Metzger. We do shows every week. Then I do some deep conspiracy rewinds as well. Tell us about Cash Daddies, buddy.
Cash Daddies is a podcast hosted by Sam Tripoli, Howie Dewey, and I'm on there also, where we talk about finance, investing, retirement. It is not only a podcast, but there's also a community and a Patreon around that community where we, it's Howie gives us some hot tips every week, and we all kind of.
What's
it's kind of like
guys, just know we're putting out. We've decided 2026. A lot of scholarships.
It's a kind of a scaled down
99% scholarships. For $1, we'll watch you and your lady go at it, and I'll give you advice on how to make love, make her pop.
I know someone's made enough money. I know someone's made enough money to pay for this.
Yeah.
No, that's for sure.
If you made enough money on Cash Daddies, you should be getting a scholarship and letting us watch you have sex one time. It's absolutely ridiculous.
8 and above only, and we're talking about the woman. 8 and above only.
So you'll have an 8 and above woman and a 4 guy?
Correct. For a scholarship, yes.
Okay, but we want the camera focused on her.
Oh, yeah. Your face, if you're the guy, you cannot be in. We don't want that.
Yeah, we don't want to have you. Because if I pop and I see your face, now I'm going to be turned on by you. If you go back to samtripoli.com, like I said last episode, Cash Daddy, the Chaos Twins. I'm about to get I'm very excited. I believe it's going to be colored. It will be out soon. Very excited about that. Also, I have a huge announcement about World War Debate that's about to drop, so I'll drop that soon. Nice. Tinfoil Hat t-shirts.
Do you know where it's going to be yet?
I mean, it's going to either be Jersey again or in Florida. We're figuring it out.
I really want to go.
I'm very excited about it. And then, we got big news coming. And then the t-shirt. Go back. Dude, some of my modern day debate, Wood Army. I get my news from Sam Tripoli. I mean, come on, dude. These shirts are fire for only $20. Make you holler. $20. tinfoilhattshirts.com. And then we got our boys here, our affiliates, Rife Technology, Wolfpack Gold and Silver, Wise Wolf Gold and Silver, Mineral King Pat Militich, Harley Ray looking for crystals, candles, anything like that. AquaCure Hydrogen Brown Gas. If you want to look younger, hydrogen's where it's at. Chemical Free Body, EMF Rocks. Yeah, Tim James Chemical Free Body. I take it, just took it today. EMF Rocks. Fight that dirty energy. We should talk to the San Francisco 49ers, see if we could get that going. Prometheus, if you want a decentralized website. Brain Supreme, when you really want to sound smart, it will get you going. Anything else, guys?
Check out my podcast, Extreme Marks the Spot, over on YouTube. Please, we go live on Tuesdays at 6 p.m.
New Broken Sim is out. Also, by the time you hear this, we will have recorded the 500th episode of Punch Drunk Sports.
I love that, dude. I love that, dude. I'm so excited. Check out I got so many shows. It's all cooking with gas.
What were you excited about that I said to?
I'm excited about the 500.
Okay.
500th episode, you piece of shit.
That's cool.
Trying to make me look stupid.
Yeah, I was trying to catch you. You're right. I didn't.
Yep, I gotcha. So one more time, Tony Moon, Rooftop Korean. I bought the book. I'm excited to read it. I hope it's pop up. I love Korean.
He's shooting the book. He's actually shooting a hole in the book. How cool is that?
I love that. I love that, dude. I love that. Every time I meet a Korean, I tell him I know Bobby Lee. Just see if I can get
for
me.
you to say it. I was waiting for you to tell him that you knew.
I wanted to ask him about if he liked Bobby Lee or he found him offensive. But I love it. Koreans are great, dude. Asians are great. They're good people.
It's a cool community. Yeah.
They're very family oriented, and that's why they do well. And that's why the black community through psyops has been destroyed through crack laws and culture. And I hope they can wake up to it and realize they're doing the bidding of the people that they despise.
Yeah.
And dude, I would, dude, if they called me Comedy Stores Under Siege, get down there. I grab my gun, be like, Rod, Captain Rod, upon your mistress ship. And I would go out there and just be like, click, 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 get some.
On top of the roof?
Oh, dude, can I go on the roof?
Ooh.
Rooftop Armenians? Let's go, dude. Let's
You
go.
mean the rooftop Armo? I like that.
Yeah, the rooftop Armo. Maybe I'll go that for Christmas. I mean, Halloween. Maybe I'll do it for Christmas, too. Daddy, why you dressed like that? Dude, the Santa's going to go down my chimney? I don't think so. Give me the gifts, fat man.
My favorite part was those things they had around their head. Those like bandana, those, what do you call that? Headband.
Isn't that what the Karate Kid wore?
Yeah. It's cool.
By the way, you ever watch old like clips from like Happy Days? Like all these guys that blew up had cameos in their small roles. Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks was like some karate guy that came in and like was chopping up the bar.
Tom Hanks was?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You're right. Why isn't there a movie about Rooftop Koreans? Is there?
I don't know. I go watch it.
Yeah.
If you made it like
I mean, it's kind of like what does Hollywood want to make a movie where black people are the bad guy? No, it never happens.
Right. Touche.
Starting to happen more.
Where?
A little bit more.
What? Where?
I've seen a couple of movies where bad guys were the black guys were the bad guys.
Oh no, I don't mean like where they are. I mean like based on reality. Do you know what I'm saying? Not like where they're like.
Oh yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's crazy times, dude. Crazy times. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my hero talk. Love you guys. And enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. Someone mentioned this in the comments, and it's a good setup. Bannon was doing this PR rehab thing where he just interviewed Epstein and asked him these weird questions. Here's one of them right here. This was in the file dump. It's so strange.
If you live,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
No, it's not. So, in fact,
why is it not dirty money?
Because I earned it.
But you earned it.
I earned it.
We went back to this before. You earned it. You earned it advising the worst people in the world, right? That do enormous bad things, and just to make more money. You're a mathematician. We walked into that clinic where they're giving that money out to these people that are in the most dire straits of poverty and sickness, and told them that the money was coming from class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
Jesus.
The highest and worst?
No, so I'm
the lowest.
I'm the lowest.
You're the lowest. Okay, tier 1, you're the lowest. But a criminal.
Yes.
That the money came from them. What percentage of people do you estimate? I understand you don't like probabilities. Do you estimate would say, I don't care, I want the money for my children?
I would say everyone said, I want the money for my children.
Did they know where the money came from?
I think if you told them,
if I told them the devil, 100%.
The devil
himself.
The devil himself said, I'm going to exchange some dollars for your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
Sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember the devil is somebody knows
smart?
it. Is your money dirty money?
How weird was that, dude?
That's a crazy, crazy thing, dude.
What does that tell you about him? I feel like that gives you some insight into who he was. But I can't quite get the conclusion. How does he regard himself, in your opinion, Jeffrey Epstein? What does he think he is?
He knows what he is. He's just trying to run PR. He's a liar. He's a child trafficker, dude. Do you think he has any problem with lying? Oh, I only make it through honest ways. Really? You won the lottery twice. Like, what are you talking about?
Here is him talking again about just weird shit with Bannon.
But I can't see anything here. So I'll just call it dark matter. And I'll say, I don't know what it is, but it behaves as if there was something there. The soul is obvious to everyone that there's something different between things that are alive and things that are not alive. But we have no idea what it is. It's currently unexplainable. I believe we need an entirely different system of analysis to try to figure out.
But
Sorry.
No, with Newton, with all his chemical studies and things he worked on the spiritual side, Leibniz just talked about the soul, Schroeder talked about what it's like. If a modern scientist or someone that you funded at MIT or Harvard or one of these things talked in those types of terms, they would be considered to be a wingnut today, wouldn't they? They would not be on the path for tenure, right?
Unless they were in the philosophy department.
This is exactly my point. We're talking about three of the greatest mathematicians in mankind's history that have really changed mankind.
Here's the problem with this.
How do we get to a situation?
That a lot of the dark stuff that he was into, like COVID, the vaccine, the Ukraine, hadn't even happened yet. Right? I mean, like, dude, this guy's a liar. And the thing about him, dude, is you can see he's charismatic. He's a charismatic guy. You're kind of listening to him. You're like, oh, man, that's interesting. He's charismatic. That's the only reason it worked. And, like, I'm still trying to find out why they picked him. And it seems to be a little bit of...
Yeah, I don't think he's remarkable in any way. Honestly, I find him incredibly. I think
he's like, you're kind of drawn into listening to him. Maybe because we know how notoriously crazy he was and all the dark shit he does. You kind of want to listen to what he's saying. Not that you're buying it, but you kind of want to listen to it. But he's just a liar.
I think it was Brett Weinstein that met. It was one of the Weinstein. Eric Weinstein that met him and said that he seemed like a construct, like he was kind of an invented character. And that's the feeling I get. Like,
well, it's like if you watch these guys, in particularly comedy or even pro wrestling, right, where they come up with this character and they become in their life, they become that character.
Yes,
because that character is what people want to see. So Dice was like a really great actor when he was a kid, but then the character of Andrew Dice Clay hit, he became Dice, and or Dice became Andrew. I don't know, but it seems like he became that character. Same thing with like probably Hogan, and Hogan admits he stole his entire persona from this one guy that was Jim something before him, but then he becomes Hogan. Right? He no longer goes by what his real name is. Yeah. He now goes by his character. So Jeffrey Epstein became a character. And he fully just controlled him, enveloped him. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, there's this saying about fame. Fame is a mask that eats into the face. It's something that
they all go crazy. I did David Lucas's show today. We were talking about, how like we were talking about if there this type of movies in the movie theater, you go to it. Mine was any monster movie with Godzilla. His was like what was that Martin Lawrence? Will Smith movie. What was it?
Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. He's like, if there's a bad boy, I'll go to the movie theater. And I was just like, how crazy did Martin Lawrence go? And he goes, that's what Hollywood does to you. It just eats you up. It just eats you up.
Totally. I'm with you. So that's really,
I mean, we covered most of the things I wanted to cover for the Epstein. Oh, there was one last thing. We'll end on the big W. We'll end our Epstein segment on the big W for conspiracy theorists. Guess who was right in the heart of all of this? It was one of the oldest names in conspiracies, being well represented, the Rothschilds. They were.
Well, it's not even only that. How about Noam Chomsky, dude?
Yeah.
That's the most shocking one. Like,
What's
how can you be? And Noam Chomsky opened my eyes to the media.
If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app or check us out at youtube.com/Sam Tripoli.
Remember last year I thought it was a horse on 420 and I ate all that grass?
This year, we're not going to get too high. We're not going to get too high because this year, we're performing at the Comedy Store. I can't wait to perform at the Comedy Store because after I perform at the Comedy Store, I'm gonna do it. Smells like dumbass in here. I didn't do it. What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome back to #1 podcast in the world. It's your boy XG Marks the Spot, and that's right, guys. That is right. We Don't Smoke the Same has a 420 show at the Comedy Store. Main room, low ticket warning. Head over to thecomedystore.com. Go get your tickets. That was such a fun skit. Dog, Tommy came in looking goofy as a mother.
I'm glad one of you guys did Fez.
Yeah, I was going to do it, but the second Nitty started fucking talking like a foreigner, I was like, you got it.
Yeah, he got it.
I
wish he would have wore an afro.
An afro? Yeah, I think it would. No, I think everyone. I mean, yeah, you're right, but I think everyone just really played out the part.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking E-Zone looked like the lamest looking cop. He looked like a K-pop cop.
That shit's funny.
But yes, go get your tickets now, and I want to thank everybody who gave me a happy birthday shout out. So many of you guys. If I forgot to text you, DM you, I just want to say thank you. Man, I got a lot of dope shout outs.
Yeah.
A lot of dope shout outs.
Did you wait before we talk about that one? There was no accidents, no hospital trips.
Woo-woo. No accidents. I am not Hex. I don't need a fucking limpia. We're good. Me, Fernando, Jenny, her sister. We all came back with all limbs attached.
No fans showed up?
I ran into one homie.
Yeah.
A tinfoil hat homie. It really wasn't
Did he go there for you or did he go there for?
No, but he did see my DM. He did see my my story, and then we met up and went out. He was fucking way better of a snowboarder than me.
Yeah?
Yeah, dude. And sometimes you get humbled, but yeah, it was fun. But I had a lot of birthday shout outs, and I couldn't. Two good and bad ones.
Yeah.
E-Zone make me look kind of stupid.
E-Zone did nice.
E-Zone, no, it was really nice.
The last one.
The last one. No, two bad ones. Can you see if you can pull up the Instagram so they know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's this one where
Which one are you talking about? E-Zone first or
yeah,
no?
go to E-Zone first.
Gotcha.
Yeah, dude, E-Zone caught me slipping because he took a picture of me this one day where we were supposed to be. So everybody who doesn't know, we don't smoke the same during Halloween. We do a costume edition pretty much the whole month because E-Zone loves dressing up and shit. And we used to have a fucking guy who used to paint our faces all the time. What was his name? Do you remember his name?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember his name, but the homie would always paint our faces throughout Halloween. And this time, they didn't tell me what they were going to paint me as, and all of a sudden, I was just being a participant. Next thing you know, my whole face is painted, and I'm Gold Dust. I don't know if you guys know, it's Gold Dust from the WWF, and it's like the gayest fucking...
Where the fuck is
it's right
this?
there, go up.
Oh, duh.
That one.
Damn, tripping. I'm on. Why do you post a nice picture of you guys? Hold on, let me put this shit up.
Those are old schools. That one when we had a snake, that was
one.
such a cool episode. I felt like Britney Spears, I was like...
Yeah.
Toxic.
Oh, that one I remember. That was fun.
You were there. That was a great time.
Security.
That was cool.
Rocky.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Look, and it's the way my
You
eyes
look
are
so
look.
gay, dude.
It's the way my eyes look, dude. The guy told me, "Can you do like that with your eyes?" And then I go doing it. Dude, it looked like
Hantolo.
Dude, I put bitches in that position, and there I am. And there I fucking am. And there I
Wiping
fucking
your tears
am.
like you
Wiping my tears like I usually
Like
do
you
with them. Dog, look at how fucking see, this is what I mean. I always get roasted in like a good kind of way.
I honestly didn't even notice that one. That shit's funny. I noticed the last one. Where's the last one? No, that one's cool.
Mr. Gray got me on that one.
That's an adorable one.
That is a great picture. That's when
so cute.
E-Zone, for everybody who doesn't know, E-Zone actually did tinfoil hat one time with Sam Tripoli.
I remember that.
He came and talked all about Santeria and
Yeah.
like he almost died. Man, look at that lineup too on my hair.
Yeah, dang.
Fuck.
Look at
Good-
you.
good
Look like
old
a
days.
fuckboy for sure. That one's the funny one, dude. That's
Fucking
so
Mystic.
funny.
It looks so real though. The only thing that kills it is honestly that computer looks like from the early 1990s, dude.
Who made that? Mystic Rick?
Yeah, Mystic, dog. Mystic's the
That's
only one that
so
can do shit
mean.
like that. That shit's so fucking good. Like
You're fired now.
Hand
Just
lotion
kidding.
right there on the right hand side.
That's so funny.
Nah, dude, that one was.
That's
that-
when you lived in the house
Hmm?
with the.
No, that's
house-
fake.
No, I know, but is that when it's? Is it fake?
I was like,
Is
fuck
that
you.
supposed to be when it's supposed to be? Right?
Huh?
When you lived it with George.
No, dude.
Is that the time that he made that?
This would be more back in when I was in my own house.
Oh,
Yeah, my apartment's house. This looks like a setup at my apartment's house, my mom's parents' house.
that's so funny.
Nah, the other fucking picture, Sam Tripoli, always mad love to Sam Tripoli for the post, but that fucking post got a 250,000 views.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna find that one right now. Hold on. That shit was funny, dude. It's just because you got mad.
I didn't get mad.
Not you, him.
Oh yeah. We'll explain why. We'll explain why
minute.
this picture got made of me, but
Sam.
Oh my God!
It was
that
so
makes
nice. It was so nice. He did it for your birthday, though.
read the caption too.
Jesus Christ, how much is this
This
for?
will post
Post.
daily.
Okay, I gotta pull this shit up. This shit's so funny. That's just on there.
No neck, having ass full.
No chin, no
No
neck.
chin.
And look at your hair, though.
I do look at that. And then the caption, happy birthday to my favorite Mexican power bottom, dude.
That's
250,000 views, Sam, dude. And then E-Zone, dude, it don't stop. Go, can you scroll down? Stop, fuck you. Go down. Someone said, I don't know who posted it, but someone, E-Zone's
Keep
already
going.
making stickers of this mother shit.
Oh yeah. It's on his comment.
Yeah.
See?
Let me see. Merch, yeah,
Oh,
see?
you get off of there. I already got
Already got
stickers
stickers being
printed.
printed
No,
out.
you didn't.
I don't know, dude. I think it's, dude,
What would he put?
just that.
You're on the Epstein list.
Dude. And that's another thing, dude.
We have so much to cover.
What a weekend to go to Mammoth and like kind of try to like
The world burned.
Yes.
That was the bad luck.
Dude, last time I did this, me and Chili went to Nocturnal. Charlie Kirk died.
Yeah.
This time I go on vacation for my birthday and I come back to, and I mean there wasn't that much service, and you know I'm like snowboarding, I'm doing my thing, and I come back and it's just every YouTube channel that I follow that I subscribe to is like Files. Jeff Files.
Everything's
Jeff,
covering
Jeff,
it.
Jeff Files. Everybody's in on it. Bill Gates is in on it.
Bro.
Elon Musk. Chili Millie, the fucking participant, called Eminem being out on it.
I knew it. I told you I saw that somewhere. I don't know where though. That he was on the list. I just
No,
remember that shit made
well-
me fucking sad.
And no. And I hate that you say it because he's one of those people that
I
just.
didn't find it.
What?
Go ahead. I forgot
Oh.
to find the video.
Yeah. I'm just saying he's one of those people that I just don't want to acknowledge that he was on the list. It's Slim Shady. It's Eminem. It's Haley, dude.
Yeah, I had that whole conspiracy about him and Logic and.
Oh, dude, yeah,
Crystal,
'cause
That's
you
hard
tell
to
me
go
that
into.
Logic's a
no
little
one
bit
knows
on
who
the-
the fuck any of these people are.
Who Logic? Everyone knows who Logic
No,
is.
I wouldn't. You would think, but they don't. They don't know who Crystalia is, and
You know what's funny?
Hmm.
I told you what Will's joke is, right?
Will.
Yeah.
What?
You can't spell Crystalia without pedophilia.
He's probably like so happy right
And it's
now.
funny he's the one it's funny he's the one who fucking made up that joke.
That's so funny, dude.
Nah, shout out to DJ Will, but yeah, dude. And then top it out. Oh God, I forgot, man. Major public service announcement. We raffling this off.
We on crack.
Signed by Sam Tripoli, personally signed by Sam Tripoli. I kind of got roasted and fucking in trouble for recording it somehow.
He liked the canvases.
Oh,
though.
no, he did. But Johnny Woodward, which is the person who made me on the fucking Epstein file list.
Hey, I didn't know
come
you were recording me either, by the way. And you posted it on yours, which I don't give a fuck. But like, but yeah, I didn't know. Like, you had when you did a post last week, and then you put it on your thing. I was like, oh dang, I didn't even know you were recording.
Well,
because I didn't see your phone.
Yeah. Well, it's not. That's the point. That's the fucking point, guys. And then the worst part is like Johnny knew I had. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't. But here's them on fucking
Oh, yeah,
Broken
let me play
Sim.
this. Okay, hold on. I
having
was
a
watching
little-
this shit, so I didn't have nothing to watch, and then I put it on, and then I was like, right when I put it on, they started talking about you, and I was like, bro, what? This shit's so funny.
So XG posted this video to Instagram where he's getting you to sign those. Did you know he was recording?
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.